taller than everyone, I'm sorry. Thank you, Arunaji. We owe you so much. Thank you so much. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hello, dear friends and devotees. My name is Chris. I have been asked to introduce Swamini Svatmavidyananda ji. Thanks to people like Aruna Sharma and others at this temple and their preservation efforts with Dharma, I first met Swamini ji just one door over in about 2009 or 2010. I believe she was teaching Vivekachudamani at the time. And I was really blown away. The first meaningful thought to emerge from her class, which was, I think we might have even started on Tattvamasi at that very time, perhaps. This is all true. That's what I was thinking. And unfortunately, I could only understand about 10% of what was going on. I thought everyone else knew everything. Seemed like that. What I could manage to understand, I thought was amazing. And I thought it was absolutely just spot on, brilliant. And as the brilliance of what she was teaching kind of started to dawn on me, I thought, I must know everything this person knows, and I must know it immediately and yesterday. Honestly, it was just very desperate. I wanted to know everything that she knew. And what Swamini ji knows, what flows through her effortlessly, is the truth of me and the truth of you. She may have never seen you until today, but the truth is, she knows you better than your own mother and father. This is because she looks at you through the eyes of the Upanishads and its teaching tradition, and not through the clouded lenses of false projections and constant anxiety. Instead, she sees you as you are. Like her own teacher, Poojya Swamini Svatmavidyananda, she communicates this self-vision in a way that continues to resonate in us in the form of ever-increasing clarity. She teaches us to recognize the natural fullness present in every experience, whether pleasant or unpleasant, punya or papa. On the way to this vision, she inspires in us a tireless enthusiasm for the gaining this knowledge that she embodies. The vision is that you are limitless happiness now. And so naturally, she makes the whole discovery process enjoyable, light and fun all the way. Mostly laughs. There is no hint of anything other than you are already free, and you will know it here in this life itself. Any sense of limitation goes when she is speaking, and in time, she makes you rely on your own understanding. She takes away these tragic and ever popular, supposedly Hindu ideas, such as I am a samsari, or this is my karma in life to suffer, or I will get knowledge in some theoretical future life with a better spouse, or that one really needs many lifetimes to gain this knowledge. If something must be called Hindu mythology, let it be these destroyers of happiness, these ideas. May these all go away forever. Truly, all any of us need is a teacher and enough commitment to listen to the words of this teaching instead of our own thinking for about an hour a day. It's a big sacrifice. 1 hour a day of, stopping our own thinking, perhaps. Then there will be no question of birth and death for you. Since you are already very dharmic people, obviously, I can infer that since you're at a Dharma conference, it's very obvious that you're all prepared to study. Prepared for success. So this will definitely suffice for everyone here. So today what I'm talking about, and the way I'm introducing Swamini ji is as knowledge itself, and as a teacher of this knowledge. This is Swamini. This knowledge comes along with a person, and that knowledge is here right now, ready to be enjoyed in her form. You are most fortunate to hear her today. Her words are Mother Ganga, washing away that which disturbed you. Her perfected speech is Saraswati, speaking into your hearts, echoing from the timeless wisdom of the Vedas. I urge you to give her all your attention to her words and not miss anything she has to say. The words she gives can change the course of your life if you can be just a little rebellious against the well-trained flow of self-imposed limitations. Please join me in welcoming Swamini Ji to the stage of your hearts. May she never depart.
My namaste to all exalted scholars that are gathered like newly discovered galaxies in the universe, bright, brilliant, and each one holding up an entire universe. My namaskars to all of you for taking this time to participate in the Vedic Dharma conference, because a conference by definition is a give and take, and all of us here on the stage may have a lot to give, but what is the use if there is nobody to take? Eminently thankful to the august body of the audience that is here. Before I begin, I want to honor Srimati Aruna Sharma ji. Please come to the stage. On behalf of all of us, don't go, stay here. Part B is still left. Somebody please chain her to the stage. Yeah. On behalf of all of us, in general, and in particular on behalf of our ashram, Arsha Vijnana Gurukulam, I want to present her this certificate of appreciation and excellence for her tireless support of Sanatana Dharma and Vedanta. As is customary, we begin with a prayer. Well-being, the wellness of one's being. I know I am, thank God. I don't have to come to you to find out if I exist or not. That's a great thing. And so therefore, in this self-evident I, and that self-evident I carries the truth of the self. I exist, and I know I exist, And that existence never comes to an end. It is very much in keeping with the human aspiration of wanting to be forever. And so therefore we say that this Sanatana Dharma is not the property of India, it's not the property of Hindus. It is there for everybody. Whoever has this desire, whoever has this longing to be free, to be whole, and that is everybody. So if somebody asks me, what is your definition of a Hindu? And who is a Hindu? I think everybody is a Hindu until they come and tell me I am not a Hindu. That is my definition of a Hindu. Because this is the universal principle. If you have a human mind, and that means there are lots of complexes. I am not good enough, I am not tall enough, I am not accomplished enough, I don't have this, I don't have that. All these things. That itself is enough to enter this glorious tradition and to gain the truths therein. So this is the vision of Vedanta, this is the vision of Sanatana Dharma. A vision that has to be discovered in this life itself. In this sense, the Hindu tradition is very, very different. The Hindu Dharma is very, very different from other organized religions. In number of organized religions, what is to be gained is in some kind of an afterlife. If the point of life is afterlife, then what is this life for? This is not a bus stop waiting for afterlife. This is not a train station where I am waiting for afterlife. If afterlife is the point of life, then why am I here? What is there to accomplish? Why am I different looking than the person who is the neighbor? Why do I have a different gender, a different height, a different weight, a different color of the skin, a different color of the hair? Different way in which the brain works. Different achievements, different challenges. There must be a purpose. And that, my friends, is the second part of understanding the Hindu Dharma and understanding one's own purpose here, now, right here. It's not in some afterlife. And it's not, and what we say is that there is no accident. Starting with one's parentage, starting with the circumstances of one's birth, one's placement in the pecking order, the eldest, the youngest, the middle child, the only boy, the only girl, all this is there for a purpose. Nothing on this earth is purposeless. This is what the Upanishads reveal. The scriptures, in fact, it is an injustice to call them scriptures because really they are orally transmitted even to this day. Verbally transmitted. They may be written down at some point, and thank God they were written down. Because our memory in Kali Yuga is not very good. Thank God they are written down. But they were orally transmitted. And this is why the tradition has continued in the face of this onslaught. Because in order to destroy the tradition, you have to destroy each and every practitioner, and that is an impossibility. That is how the tradition has survived. Certain kings, Aurangzeb, etc., burnt numerous libraries. So much was lost, but still, whatever matters still remains, because each person is a library. And that brings me to the main point of this talk. Who is a Hindu? What is this dharma? What is the identity? Once long back, I was being interviewed by some Christian minister who was taking notes. And the interview was from the standpoint of the Christian tradition, perhaps the Islamic tradition, which has certain beliefs. So she started asking me, do you have a holy day? I said, no, we don't, because every day is a holy day. Oh, one day for Lord Shiva, Tuesday for this one, Wednesday for Ganapati, like this, Thursday for Guru, Friday for the goddess, Saturday for Shani Bhagavan, Hanumanji is the, is the representation. Like this every day is holy. So I said, no, we don't have a single holy day. Do you have to go and worship at a particular place? I said, no, we don't. Do you have to pray a certain number of times a day? I said, no, we don't. Because she just said, no, yes or no answers. You can't wax eloquent on all this. You have to just say yes or no. I said, no, we don't. After 4 or 5 questions like this, she threw the pen down. She was very frustrated. She says, why do you call yourself a Hindu? You should call yourself a Hindont. This is what she said. And that told me, in that moment I understood that especially both in the mother country, in Bharat, in India, and also outside, there is a strong need to come up with a redefinition of who we are. Because every other definition is through the Orientalist gaze, the gaze of the colonizers, the gaze of the imperialists, and the gaze of organized religions, mainstream religions. That where the questions are themselves loaded. Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have this? And I just have 5 minutes. It is on some, she had some kind of a podcast or something on the radio, and she had a show, so it just had to be done in a concise way. There is no open-ended questions. And we come from a long tradition where there has been no pressure to define ourselves, because there is a certain security about who we are. Even though that may not be the truth right now, but that is the ultimate truth, because there is a certain security of who we are. We haven't had to clamor to define ourselves. There has been no need. The child grows up in the tradition, and there is no Sunday schools. That is recently, Bala Vihars, etc. But no Sunday schools, no need for Sunday schools. Learns by osmosis, watches the parents, watches the elders in the tradition, imbibes whatever there is to imbibe, and then continues in that way. And that security has come through one's placement in the society, the acceptance of one's placement in the society. Whether one is the middle child or the elder child, etc., there are certain roles, there are certain duties. There is such a thing called Swadharma. What is it that I have to accomplish in this life? And that is unique to you. Nobody else can do what you do. Nobody else can replace you. And that is instilled right from the start, even from the naming ceremony itself. The child is named after Bhagavan. It's amazing. And after certain qualities which the elders know and see that he or she will imbibe. This is something which is extremely beautiful. And so we never really had the pressure that we are this. The reason for this self-definition and the reason for identity comes only when that identity is repeatedly questioned, as it happened over 1,000+ years of colonization. Not only was there a terrible erasure of this identity, but along with the erasure, there was a distortion. That was the replacement was a distorted idea of who we are, often given by non-practitioners, people in the positions of power, such as the colonizers, imperialists, etc. Even to this day, whether India is mindful of human rights abuses, etc., is decided by the United States. They will give a kind of a ranking. Oh, too bad, too bad. And here people are getting shot, people are getting abused. That is not visible. This is how, when that identity is repeatedly questioned, repeatedly made unsure of, repeatedly vandalized. It was not just the temples that were vandalized. The inner temple, where I carry a sense of self, that also suffered repeated vandalism. And that is what we are standing on the rubbles of that vandalism, wanting to rise like a phoenix in the self-definition, in the collective self-definition of who we are, which is very, very, very urgently needed in these days and times, as we have new and greater challenges, as we stand in front of challenges which are as detrimental as the colonizers of yore, but which are more difficult to spot. At least the colonizers, you can say, okay, they look different and they are here, and then this is what they want from us and we have to stay away from them. At least there was a way to protect ourselves. But now the challenges are such that they are very, very ubiquitous. Very, very ubiquitous. They come from engendering a certain kind of a self-loath for ourselves and our beliefs and our ways. That's why even among the Hindu intelligentsia of today, if somebody asks, what is your religion? People will say, I would rather not say. The Christian does not say this. The Muslim does not say this. The Buddhist does not say this. I would rather not say. I believe in everything. How can you believe in everything? No, that is what the forefathers and the foremothers taught us. But you see, that is at a different level of rhetoric. That is what we call paramarthika, the absolute reality. But here we are discussing what is imminent, what is empirical, what is right here in front of us. And confusing these two realities, where has it gotten us? This is the problem. The tools of the empirical reality cannot help us to understand the absolute. And if everybody is abiding in absolute reality, absolutely, then we don't need to have these conferences or anything, any gathering. We would all be in our own glory, sitting somewhere enjoying everything. But that is not the case. We need this self-definition urgently because of new and improved, quote-unquote, challenges, difficulties, which are very difficult to spot, which are ubiquitous, which need to be overcome, which need to be at least understood what this is. The self-loath that is the legacy of the colonizers is a very old game. This has not just happened to the Hindus or the people belonging to Sanatana Dharma. It has happened to every indigenous tradition in the whole universe. If you go to Egypt and you would like to meet the people who built the pyramids, not a single person is available. Everyone either killed or converted. That's all. No other option. If you go to ancient, any other civilization, and you say, what is this? Only we have museums, artifacts. We don't have the practitioners. Only in this tradition we have practitioners. We have people that know what it is. And we have been schooled to thinking we don't know enough. And we have to gather all the knowledge before we respond to this onslaught. But that is not the case. Our new mantra should be, we know enough, we have enough, nay, we are enough. This runs contrary to what is the narrative of the new way of colonizing the minds. You are enough. Why should we have non-practitioners that are sitting in Ivy League colleges and ivory towers decide who we are, which is what is happening? Why should they decide what our practices are? Why should they decide what textbooks our children should read? This is what I mean, new and ubiquitous ways of challenges that we are being faced with, which is coming in which is contrary to our upbringing, our understanding in so many ways. For instance, anybody educated, we say, oh, we give them an honorable place. They are our gurus. They have things to teach. They have been educated. They are wanting to share something with us. We need to listen, regardless of who they are. We need to listen to them. Adi Shankara, a celebrated saint scholar in the tradition, says, listen, but with your logic intact. Don't give the logic away. If 1,000 scriptures, he says, were to say that the nature of fire is cold, please don't say, oh, the scripture is saying this and we have to believe it. Adi Shankara says this. So in that same vein, we have to be aware, who is the one who is talking? Are they walking the talk? Are they doing this? And how are they able to tell us this if they themselves are not practicing? And then we look around. Can we tell anybody to how to be a good Christian? Will they listen to us? The answer is no. Even if I studied all about Christianity or Catholicism and got a PhD, my voice would be drowned. Because there is a certain idea of that. You will never find, or rarely I would say, if there may be some exceptions, I don't know, you will rarely find in the world scholars of organized religions who are non-practitioners. Here alone, that big gap exists. And so that is a very important challenge, a very pervasive challenge, which is helping us, which is instigating us to overcome that self-loathe and to come out from the feeling that we have a maimed identity. We just have to reclaim that. And the second challenge is also, there's the so-called contradiction. It's not a real contradiction. It's a contradiction that comes out of some kind of a half knowledge. We have a saying, Atithi Devo Bhava. Be the one unto whom the guest is a manifestation of Bhagavan. His guest is a manifestation, an avatara of God. It's very, very interesting. Atithi means the one, tithihi navidyate yasya, the one who drops in without an appointment. It's not you calling up your friend and saying, I'm coming over for a chai. No, that's not atithi. Somebody who just drops in. A concept that is foreign to us now, especially post-pandemic. we are not familiar with that anymore. But that is Atithi. Atithi Devo Bhava, it's very interesting. The guest is supposed to be treated like God, and then when we do puja to Bhagavan, Ishvara, we welcome into our house as an honored guest. And we do all the upachara, how the guest is treated, we treat Bhagavan, and how Bhagavan is treated, we treat the guest. I have often mused on this kind of a transposition. And I'm wondering if a misunderstanding of this particular maxim or this Vedic injunction, Atithi Devo Bhava, somehow allowed the colonizers to come. Oh, anybody came. Ajao, khajao, please come. Eat us up. We welcome you. We will give you land grants to build your places of worship. It's again a very, very lofty rhetoric. But the same Upanishad that says Atithi Devo Bhava also says you need to give after seeing the validity and the eligibility of the recipient. Do not give to the people who are not eligible to receive this, and respect what you have given. Again, this is a half knowledge which is dangerous. One particular thing stuck with us, Atithi Devo Bhava. And it was used perhaps by everybody, even the people who wanted to be the future Atithis and come over uninvited and not fulfill their roles as the guest, which is to leave basically no footprint, which is to not disturb somebody else's way of living just because you have bigger power, guns, etc. That is, another reason why we are confused. And I was at an interfaith service where they said, oh, Atithi Devo Bhava. Everybody was praying, and one of the people said, this term, Atithi Devo Bhava, is just like love thy neighbor. I said, no, it is not. Because there the neighbor is assumed to be just like you. That is the problem. We find with organized and mainstream religions, there is one set of rules for the followers and one set of rules for the non-followers. There is a total absence of this in the Sanatana Dharma. It is both our strength and also the source of challenges. I'm not saying we have to be like that. I'm just pointing out why this redefinition is difficult and why it is more and more required and more needed, urgently needed. Then we have one more thing. The concept of ahimsa. Ahimsa paramo dharma. Ahimsa is the highest form of dharma, a universal matrix of norms. And this ahimsa, non-injury. If I follow in my life, then everything is going to be okay. And in fact, this has been demonstrated. This has been demonstrated and used in the war of independence and so many things. But again, it has to be looked at very, very closely. I'm not saying we have to take up swords and cudgels. All I'm saying is, if somebody, my teacher used to say this, if somebody comes and stands on my toes, I have the right to tell them, please get off. So if I tell them, please don't stamp on my legs, get off my toes, then I am suddenly branded as a rabid fundamentalist. Very, very interesting. What is this rhetoric? What is this? Where is the reasoning? And so this is something we have to watch out for. How these kinds of labels come and threaten to destroy us, threaten to come in the way of who we are. I was talking with the monks in Hawaii. There is a Adhinam, Kauai Adhinam, of Shaivite monks. So they said to me once at a conference, I think it was a Hindu Mandir's conference. I remember this was, I think, the Indianapolis meeting. And so we were having a discussion just in the hallway. And they said, so what do you think about the word Hindu? I said, the word Hindu has become a 4-letter word, even though it has 5 letters. And nobody wants to understand this. Nobody wants to see this. Perhaps as an offset, a late principal, a previous principal of the Sanskrit college in Chennai came with a very unique definition of Hindu. Him apashabdam dushayati khandayati iti Hindu. The one that denounces any kind of intolerance, any kind of hurt, any kind of disparaging of others is a Hindu. This is a very beautiful definition. In fact, I am told that we learn in the history books that there is no such word as Hindu. People could not say the word Sindhu, and that's why the word Hindu was given. We don't mind. Sanskrit is a very elastic language. And we have the ability to make up words. And this is a very good definition, because by nature one is totally intolerant of any intolerance. That is a Hindu. And it's a wonderful definition because it puts on our shoulders the great responsibility of preserving this tradition. Preserving the practitioners is preserving the tradition. Preserving the practitioners, preserving this tradition as a legacy for future generations. And it gives us also the responsibility of living this tradition and guarding it against the onslaught of so many difficulties, challenges that are there. And so this responsibility to help ourselves and others in our situation, other indigenous traditions, other non-proselytizing traditions, this is where our global outreach has to go. This is exactly where it has to go. This is the future. It is all-encompassing. And to this end, while it is important, I would say, to have a sound identity based on a sense of security, that sense of security has to be got from satsangs, from spiritual education, etc. And in this newfound identity based on mutual support, we can tackle anything. We have a newfound vision. We have a newfound way of going about guarding this. Healthy boundaries are something that we have to learn. We do not know how to make those healthy boundaries. Just like the snake who was biting everybody, and the sage, the story goes, was telling the snake, "Why are you biting? Stop biting." And 3 months later, the sage came by, and then the snake was all battered up. It was beaten up. It was on death's door. "What happened to you?" the sadhu said. The snake said, "It's all your fault. You told me not to bite." The sadhu said, "Idiot, I never told you not to hiss." And so with these words, I will conclude. Thank you. Om Tat Sat.